the year 2024. There are 3 Japanese women in their 20s. They went to South Korea to engage in body yellow activities under the guise of short-term tourism, captured by the South Korean police. The police checked. It turned out that dozens of Japanese women were also doing this in Korea. They make small things big, the principle of big things becoming huge. The Korean media have come out to promote it well. I'm Gwanzaitan. In fact, there is an interesting international phenomenon. It is in Europe and some countries where the erotic industry is particularly developed these days. They always refuse single Japanese women to enter the country for tourism. Also, deny the visa. The reason is the fear that these Japanese women will enter their country to engage in some illegal bodily pornography. Even our Treasure Island province has caught many Japanese women engaging in this. They all enter the country in the name of short-term tourism. However, the fine in Treasure Island province is lighter. It costs only 3,000, and then isn't it interesting for him to say this? A woman who claims to be the most developed country in the world. Why did you go to another country to engage in illegal activities? In fact, I think this is the case. It is unreasonable to reason with love. But reality is like this. And at the same time, in the past few days, I have seen a lot of Rexona accounts starting to pop up again. He said, what about this year? When you go to Japan, you will find that ... There are a large number of sprints to various attractions. A lot of people, how can you say that Japan is bad? Japan is not good. Why do so many people go to Japan? He said, so you would think it would make sense. But it reminded me of Bali, Thailand, Bangkok, Nha Trang, Vietnam, Jeju. Aren't there also Chinese people everywhere? If you think carefully, you will find, actually from Nha Trang to Bali to Vietnam, Bangkok, Thailand, Jeju Island. He is a history of people's consumption, upgrading, we Chinese. In fact, one of the biggest characteristics is that there are too few excellent coastlines. And then the only excellent coastline became the most expensive place in the country. Then he slaughtered the guests. Yes, I'm talking about Sanya. Our domestic tourists. It's all because Sanya is too expensive. Go to places where consumption is lower than... Are you saying it's not weird? Going abroad is cheaper than going home. Our domestic tourists first discovered Nha Trang, Vietnam, because this place is cheap. It also has an excellent coastline, almost for a very small amount of money. You can also enjoy the exotic atmosphere. So a large number of domestic tourists start flocking to Nha Trang, Vietnam. Let's say something objective and true. That's because of the huge influx of Chinese tourists into Nha Trang, Vietnam. The local people have never seen this kind of money falling into the sky. So they were in front of this bright people. They learned to slaughter. They learned the black-hearted tourism program. And finally, the flow of Chinese tourists to Nha Trang and Vietnam started to divert. And then a little further away, go to Bali, go to Thailand. And then it becomes the choice for Chinese tourists. Just from the 1970s and 1980s, Bali and Bangkok. It is the best destination for tourists from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. It's just that consumption in mainland China has upgraded. Mainland tourists are beginning to replace tourists from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan on their trips to Bali. And at the same time, tourist itineraries in Korea and Japan. Essentially, 20 years ago, he was the route of choice for high-income groups in China. But as domestic income levels rise, Jeju Island in South Korea and Seoul have become the destinations of choice for domestic tourists. Of course, this is also a huge credit for Korean dramas. Then, as we earn, the whole of Japan has become the next preferred destination for our people. In the past, to be honest, 20 years ago, you want to say that people travel to Japan. How high will he pay? First of all, he has to show enough property proof. He has to provide the real estate certificate, proof of property, proof of work. There's even a driver's license, annual income of more than 200,000. Then there are all kinds of credit collateral. You get a private visa to Japan. That's because they are afraid that you will go to work illegally. At that time, you worked in Japan for a year. It is equivalent to a house in a second and third tier city in China. You have to say that 20 years ago, you could travel to Japan. That means that their domestic income is quite high. But today, Aunt Wong, next door to us, neighbor Aunt Lee, he had time. He can even make a trip to Japan and Korea. So I see a phenomenon. Today's major attractions in Japan, from Tokyo to Hokkaido, there are a large number of Chinese tourists. He started appearing. In the past, few people had appeared in those unpopular attractions. But at the same time, many Japanese propaganda accounts want to prove one thing. Let's just say the country's economy is doing okay. It is demolition wherever we Chinese tourists go out. Only one thing was okay. That is, the law and order here is okay. We can afford local consumption. But if we look at it from a different angle, is it possible to say that today's Japan? He's Vietnamese, fast. Thais. What about Malaysianization? This is a reality that we must confirm and accept. The Japanese economy today, it's in rapid decline. The economic downturn that followed the bursting of the financial bubble that began in it hasn't stopped until today. It was declining since about 1868 in Japan. A large number of women traveled to the Southeast Asian region. This is the Philippines today. Malaysia, Indonesia. The region is engaged in physical money-making activities, and it continued until the end of World War I. What was his purpose at that time? It is to make money to develop armament. At that time, there were probably millions of women traveling to the Nanyang area every year. And this is an organized official act of the state after making money. Most of the money went to the military government of the winched country. At that time, they had a brainwashing speech. The prosperity of the Empire of Japan. You are here to smear the country. Shame is a sin. If you want to atone for your sins, as long as you make more money from foreigners and give it to the state in this short sentence. He was full of contempt for women in his own country. At the same time, they poor them. We also need to make money from them These are Japanese women. Even from the Meiji Restoration to today, not much has changed in their lives. There are a lot of women today. She no longer goes to Southeast Asia. They went to Hong Kong, go to Thailand, go to Kuala Lumpur, went to Africa. They went to North America. They went to South America. It's just that this time there is no official organization. All the money they earn goes into their own pockets. These 2 years. Female poverty has become a unique and pervasive phenomenon in Japanese society. There are 4 layers of young Japanese women in society. She can only work in restaurants, convenience stores, and labor dispatch. Working hard for a month, only a few $100,000. But a few days abroad can earn a few months or even a month's salary at home. There are a lot of people who package themselves in the name of an actress, but a lot of people haven't actually acted. Many people are fooled and don't know it. But these countries have learned better. They're keen discoveries. As long as there are single Japanese women or a couple of single Japanese women on a short trip to the country, they must be engaged in that illegal activity. Therefore, these countries can do it. It is to ban them from entering the country, and some people are promoting that this country is getting better and better. I also feel better and better. This afternoon, they first held an emergency press conference. He announced his intention to resign as prime minister. This is the time. No one on Zhang Youkai's big ship wanted to be a captain. Anyone who dozed off with his eyes closed could have been prime minister. Think about it. How many grass mud horses were running through his heart? How clear is his heart? How tattered this ship is? Now, you don't have to go to their country. You can see there are women in other countries engaging in that illegal activity in multiple countries. And you can see that a lot of people are now happily sending them money. They said they went to win glory. I personally resist this behavior here and give you a severe rebuttal verbally. Shame. Well, it's live at 8 p.m. Remember to come and see.